Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today's episode is brought to you by fleeyourcountry.org. Fleeyourcountry.org. If you need to get the hell out, fleeyourcountry.org is the place to go. We have many examples in which fleeyourcountry.org has helped people get out. If you are a moderately successful content provider living in one of the most corrupt countries in Europe, and you want to avoid national service, you want to avoid getting drafted, well, fleeyourcountry.org can help you. Fleeyourcountry.org can help. If you are a spoiled little shithead and you just want to live in a place with other spoiled little shitheads, well, fleeyourcountry.org can help. Flee Your Country can help the spoiled shithead get out of one country and then get into a more spoiled country. And then finally, if you live in a pre-dawn Bronze Age society in which there's barely running water, and the only opportunity is to become a jihadi pirate or a practitioner in genital mutilation, then fleeyourcountry.org can help you. We will help you get out of that country, get out of that poop hole country, and then we will put you in another country, and you can assist in making that country a poop hole country as well. So again, fleeyourcountry.org. We like to, again, thank you very, very much for being our prime sponsor, fleeyourcountry.org. All right, back to the episode. What's happening today? Well, we're going to have a look at the headlines in which most of the mainstream media is reporting the ongoing conflict. Right now, we're kind of in a phase in which there is not a great deal of exchanging of territory, or the fighting obviously is going on. The Russians continue with airstrikes. Over the past 24 hours, there has essentially been about 30 Russian airstrikes on various portions of the front. We also expect the Russians to launch another wave of cruise missiles and ballistic missile strikes against Ukrainian targets, again shifting away from key infrastructure targets to more military stylized targets that the Russians have been going after recently. So let's look at some of the headlines. So Ukraine military news: Wagner PMC announced the beginning of withdrawal from Bakhmut. How many times have we heard that? I mean, we've heard that quite a bit. Wagner is leaving Bakhmut. Wagner is leaving Bakhmut. Well, they may. And ultimately, we anticipate that regular Russian forces, which are actually in Bakhmut, will remain in Bakhmut in all probability. Regular Russian ground forces will continue to operate in this area, with Russian National Guard forces permanently stationed in Bakhmut. Here's another one. Raytheon Missile and Defense to supply Ukraine with NASAMS air defense systems. They have some. They're going to get more. And this is interesting. This is from the Globe and Mail. Ukrainians were likely behind drone attack on Kremlin earlier this month. Interesting. Remember, they were just talking about that in all probability it was the Russians that launched an attack against their own Capitol building, or the Kremlin. Yeah. Norway supports the training of Ukrainian F-16 personnel. I highly doubt the Ukrainians are going to get F-16s. Again, I think this is a lot of talk, a lot of bravado. I mean, is it impossible that they will get F-16s? No, I wouldn't say it's impossible. But there's a lot more effective weapon systems that the Ukrainians could get as opposed to the F-16. Again, I think other systems would help the Ukrainians more than simply the F-16s. This is coming. 6 drones shot down in Crimea, no casualties, Russian-backed chief says. Let's see here. Trump's main competitor told what he would do about the war in Ukraine as U.S. president. That's the position of Mr. Ron DeSantis. And that is about it. Let's see. Looks like Finland is going to send an additional $117 million in military aid to Ukraine. And let's see. Yep, that is about it. And again, not a lot on the news front today. I think at this point, the Russians are consolidating positions around Bakhmut. We continue again to watch this area north of Bakhmut, north of Seversk, in this area here, just to the east of Liman, northeast of Sloviansk, for possible new Russian activity. And also in the south, we continue to watch very closely for any signs of a Ukrainian counteroffensive that could take place near Orikhiv or areas both west and east of that locale. And again, I think at this point, it's safe to say that the Ukrainian pause button has been hit by the Ukrainians themselves in terms of any possible ongoing offensive operations. I think ultimately, as I've talked about before, we're really going to see this conflict heat up around the August time frame. I predict that August will be the time in which we see a uptick in violence. We will see an uptick in fighting. We will also see an uptick in possible maneuver operations, as well as both forces continue to expand their military capacity. Especially the Russians are essentially playing catch-up against the initial Ukrainian mobilization, and that continues on as we speak. Remember, the Russians have that military-industrial complex to continue to grow its armed forces. Much of the Ukrainian military-industrial complex has been destroyed by Russian forces, and the Ukrainians are very much reliant upon direct support from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and then direct support, by and large, from the United States as well. But we will continue to watch what is happening on the ground. We will continue to report. Thank you for joining us today. More to come very, very soon. Have a good day.